Hello everyone, I'm Natalie and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be talking about the grand water trine. So the water signs are Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. And Cancer rules the 4th house, Scorpio rules the 8th house, and Pisces rules the 12th house. There are 3 modalities in astrology, and that's cardinal, fixed, and mutable, and this actually just so happens to be the order that they are in. Cancer is the cardinal water sign, Scorpio is the fixed water sign, and Pisces is the mutable water sign. So water as an element is very mysterious. You can't really grasp it because, when you get water, you can't hold it in your hand. It just runs through your fingers. Water kind of rules the mysteries of life. Water, like as an element. And it also rules spiritual, subconscious, psychic energy. The further that we go along with the water signs, the more psychic they get, the more they feel, the more in tune with this emotional current they are. Water is emotions. Water is feeling things within you. This begins with Cancer. Cancer kind of puts the feelings in us because Cancer is ruled by the moon. Without Cancer, we wouldn't be able to feel because they kind of start this. And Cancer rules the 4th house of your home and your deep roots, like where you come from. So it's almost like an instinct in a way. Like Cancer is very instinctual in that way. Like their kind of feelings are very like, it'll hit them like just, ooh, I just got this like feeling, this intuition. They're deeply intuitive. When we have the home, we have the moon, but where do we come from first? Like who is the first person that we build a bond with? Our mothers. Our mother puts her energy into us. That's how we get the moon sign. This is what Cancer represents. Wherever Cancer is in our charts, or just in general, Cancers put their energy into you. They make you feel, and they do this by like kind of feeling you. Like they feel your emotional currents. They can feel the changes in people's moods because they experience that. They're ruled by the moon waxes and it wanes. It really is changing all the time. So Cancers are kind of emotionally changing all the time. I like to think of Cancer as waves. Waves like crashing on the shore, and the more that the wind blows, which I guess could be like the air signs, the more that they send their messages, the more Cancers feel. The harder their waves get, the bigger and stronger they get, the bigger and stronger their emotions get, the more that they send out this emotional energy into the universe, and the more that we can receive, because Cancers give us that. Cancers give us the ability to feel because they give us our moon, they give us our home, they give us the deepest part of us, they give us a place that we can go to in our charts. So what happens when we get this? Like what happens when we start to feel things? This is where the 8th house and Scorpio comes in. And now Scorpio is ruled by Pluto. Pluto is about death and transformation. Hard transformation. It's not easy. This is where we get even deeper into emotions. We start connecting what Cancer put into people, like into us. We start connecting that to like our psyche. This is like really psychological. What causes us to grow with these emotions? What causes us to transform? Scorpio pinpoints this into ourselves. And what it does is it forces us to grow. It forces us to transform. Scorpio causes us to transform by literally placing a mirror in front of us. This mirror can usually show up as inner demons, as psychological issues that can come up within us, as depression, as psychic vampires, as toxic relationships, or just relationships that cause you to come out of yourself, to face yourself, that cause you to grow in very challenging ways, because it creates an 8th house, and the 8th house is pretty much about facing yourself. But what happens a lot of times is we choose to ignore this side of ourselves, because Pluto is like the side of ourselves that we repress, because it's like deep, scary secrets, repressed sexual desires, fears, what we want to control is ruled by Pluto. But these parts of ourselves that Pluto rules are parts of ourselves that we have to connect with to conquer them in a way. This is why Scorpios are very introspective. Like, they're kind of doing this with themselves all the time. They're kind of going deep within themselves and figuring themselves out all the time. These Pluto things that we have to confront within ourselves, which is basically dealing with our 8th house, is hard to do, because when we are confronting these aspects of ourselves, we are confronting death. It's almost like we're confronting our own death, because it's like confronting parts of ourselves that really aren't serving us, that really hold us back in life. We have to confront them to kill them off. And when we do, we build power, but it's scary, it's not easy, and at times it can feel like doing so makes us weaker. It doesn't, it makes us stronger. Scorpio is here to put strength and power into what Cancer puts into us. And this is kind of what the 8th house is. These transformations are needed because it's how we build the power and the strength to face the end result. And the end result is Pisces. And this is where we transcend. This is kind of where we reach like our highest vibration, or we can. This is kind of where we come face to face with our spirituality, whatever that may be. Kind of like where we get connected with God. Pisces puts meaning into what Cancer and Scorpio did to us, to our charts. The 12th house puts meaning. The 12th house shows us where we go to kind of dissolve. It's like becoming your true self. This is where our soul dies and we kind of, again, transcend. Like we leave this life. And it doesn't have to be an actual death. It could just be like a new chapter in your life, because birth charts are circular. They're not, time isn't linear. It's circular. It keeps going. When we pass Pisces, we go right back to Aries. When we pass the 12th house, we go right back to the 1st house. But we can't just get to the 1st house once we are done with Scorpio, once we're done with all this hard transformation and building our power. We have to kind of get to our higher self. And if you don't believe in this kind of stuff, whatever your spirituality is, this is what you have to face in the 12th house. And when we do, we learn why Cancer and Scorpio are here. Why this happened. Why Cancer and Scorpio were put here for us to feel this and to go through this. Why we even got the emotions and the spiritual energy in the first place. That's why I think Pisces are kind of known for being like far off, because they're really not in reality. They're gone. They're not really of this world. And with this connection comes that wisdom that Pisces is also known for, because they kind of got like an inside scoop on this knowing. They themselves have this like psychic knowing guiding them through life, guiding them to this connection with that spiritual realm. Again, Pisces is a very, very spiritual sign, but Pisces can't really get this knowing without Cancer and Scorpio. Cancer like actually feeling this emotion, like creating this emotional current in the world. And it's very important that Scorpio doesn't get stuck in transforming what Cancer creates, because you know, it can get kind of dark because it's emotions. This is like dealing with human psychology, human spirituality, the complex inner workings of people. And we get to Pisces where we can dissolve those aspects of ourselves that Scorpio has pointed out that need to be destroyed. And after Scorpio destroys things that need to be destroyed within us, Pisces then just kind of like dissolves all of that, and we transcend, realize why it all happened, and we become a new person. So that probably sounded really confusing. And if you have a grand water trine in your chart, I can imagine that that's a big theme of your life, is like feeling a lot, carrying a lot of weight within you, because you will be able to kind of feel everything around you. And trines typically are like said to be good aspects, which I don't like to categorize aspects as good or bad, because I think that a trine can bring up some challenges, because if you have a grand water trine and you don't have anything else balancing it out, like maybe some good earth anywhere within you, like aspecting any of those planets as well, it can probably be hard to find a stable ground within this grand water trine. I think that out of all the trines, a grand water trine is probably the most difficult to have in a chart, because it can make you feel very misunderstood by people. It can be beautiful, but it's like each of these planets in your chart that you have like forming this grand water trine, it's like they really do kind of add like emotional currents to each other, and it can be powerful because they can help each other like transform and transcend through these houses wherever these planets are in your chart. But it can also be difficult. It could potentially feel like you are unstable, like you are just kind of always like up and down. It could be like a roller coaster dealing with your emotions. So that's important, is to just look at where it falls. You know, if it falls into maybe like earth houses, this grand water trine, it could probably be a little easier. Fire houses is going to make it real reactive. Water houses is going to make it very, very deep. But even if you don't have a grand water trine, look at your water houses, the 4th house, the 8th house, and the 12th house. Whatever signs or planets that you've got going on in these houses, this is what your emotions, emotional transformation, and emotional transcendence is going to look like. This is like your psychic energy. This is how you have your own intuition within yourself and about other people. This is like the intuition that you build throughout the world, throughout your life. And if you have a grand water trine, you probably are very intuitive yourself, very deep and psychic. And even if you don't, if you have 2 planets in water signs that are trine to each other, look at where the other water sign is in your chart, because like every sign is connected to each other. The elements are all connected. No matter what's happening with the signs, every sign and each element is connected to each other and helping each other. And trines are like flowing energy, so they're giving each other this energy, this emotional wave back and forth to each other. So if you just have 2 planets in water signs, look at the other water sign, and wherever it's at, it's also going to be contributing to the trine that you have with those 2 planets in water signs. So I hope that this kind of made sense. I hope that you like this video, and thank you for watching.